So welcome to the next stage in our creation of our lava. What we need to do, now we've copied this over, is to create the side pieces, and we're going to create those by using the elements that's already here to keep it seamless like we did before. And what we're going to do is just hide that, and we are going to get our selection tool. We need to change the width to 16 and the height to 32. Make sure you just push PX so it doesn't change the centimetre in this box, because it is prone to doing it. Then we can line up our box. Make sure you've got our layer selected. Push Ctrl C, Ctrl V. It should paste it right where we copied it from. Then we can just pull that over. Okay, and same again. We're just going to get our selection tool and do the other side now. Now it can be a bit confusing, so what we're going to do is just move this across, and we're going to push Ctrl C. Make sure we have our first layer selected, and we're going to rename all of these in a sec. Ctrl V, Ctrl C and Ctrl V I should say, and there we have it. Now we have our tile forming. Again, we're just going to separate these a little bit just so we can see where we are. Now we need to swap these over, so 32 by 16, and Ctrl C, make sure we've got layer 1 selected, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, bring that down, good stuff, and then again we're just going to go Ctrl C, make sure you've got the same layer selected. I have to keep reminding myself. So again, now we should have our 4 pieces. Okay, now what we need to do is create, obviously we need to swap these over actually, because this one belongs down here and this one belongs down here, up there, sorry. Okay, that's looking better. So I think that was a good thing though for us if these actually do sort of line up as well, because it gives us extra flexibility. Right, but okay, for now anyway, what we need to do is create our corner pieces. So we're going to change our width to 16, so we have 16 by 16, and each one of these should go in their opposing corners. So this bottom left should go in the top right, this one bottom right should go in the top left, and vice versa. So Control C on layer 1. So I'll tell you what, yeah, we'll name these in a sec. We'll just get them copied first. So just copy them over. So again, and then we're going to do bottom. Make sure you've got the layer selected. See, I'm starting to remember now, after constant reminding from the system. So again, we're going to struggle to sort of see these elements, so just bring that up. Make sure we're copying it in the right spot. And we should be around here, I think. Yep. And Control C. I mean, if you are struggling to see, then obviously you can always hide these other additional layers. Just so it's nice and clear. Okay, and yep. Control C, and then we should now have our full tile. So again, I've copied something wrong there because that doesn't match up. That's because I copied it from the wrong side. Actually, I think I've moved that over to the wrong side. Yep, there we go. So these things happen. Don't beat yourself up about them. They're all prone to a quick lapse in concentration. And Control, make sure you got the right layer. Control C, Control V, and that should fit in nicely there. And it doesn't, because we copied the wrong side again. Okay, let's just move these across. So Control C. Do apologise about this. So there we go, and now we have, after much much confusion and some slight error, our tiles made. So if we zoom out, let's just see how they look. Cool. So I think that would look, although it does look like a recurring pattern, it will look kind of cool once it's up and it looks like lava, which is our main thing. Okay, so what we want to do now is actually build the surroundings for our lava. Okay, now we imagine this like quite poolly. Okay, so when I say like a pool going around, if we find these images of lava, so if you notice around the edge, I mean these are quite straight, but if you look here, we can see these really sort of curves coming around all these sort of where it's the previous lava has cooled down and dried off, and I think that would be a really cool sort of way for us to line up against our other flooring, our other floors, which would be obviously this here. Okay, so we need to use this colour as well. So what we're going to do is select that brown that we originally used in the very first tile set we made. We can save this and close this off now, and so we won't need that. And we're just going to go File, Save. And what we're going to do, just very quickly, is rename these layers. So I'm going to create 2 folders, one with called sides, one called corner. Oh, cancel. And we are literally just going to drag those in, and we're going to create the corners. We've got an extra one there which can be deleted, got an extra one there that can be deleted, and then we can just drag these up into the corner. And yeah, cool, so we can just name this one tile I'll call that one bottom. Oh, cancel. Top, right, and left. This will just help speed us up. Obviously you can use a visual reference, but keeping everything named means if someone else comes in there, they're going to be able to sort through these layers very quickly. If you're working on a big production team. So for this I'm putting code, so bottom left corner, bottom BR for bottom right corner, and I've put Kona on there. We don't want Kona, we definitely want to spell it as corner, otherwise they'll think we're balmy. So we're going to go top left, sorry, corner, and then we're going to go to top right corner. Cool. So now we have all them done. So what we want to do now is actually we're going to paint over this on one layer, and then we're going to copy the elements of those and embed them onto the other layers further down, which should speed up our production process. Okay, so what we're going to do is first is start to paint. We're actually going to turn the opacity down on all of these because we want to see them, but at the same time we do just want to be able to have that little bit extra visibility on what we're doing. Okay, so when I say these sort of pools, these we really want them to be really round, okay, like this, and flowing in from each other. We don't necessarily want them to so try and make them as interesting as possible. I'm trying to, obviously we are restricted by the number of pixels we have, but we don't want to encroach into that space. Okay. So again, just play around until you get it quite nicely fitting in. Okay, we can add some variation to those as well. We will be working on these slightly, so don't worry yourselves too much. And one thing we are going to do is just when we do come back over that, is just ensure that these sort of line up on the corner pieces, and then we'll be able to have those as seamless as well, which will give us that little bit extra. So again, these will finish at the same line. We can work those on, and we're just going to sort of fill these in. So we have these sort of pockets of grain that's dried off, and we're going to make these more round. We're going to smooth them off. And down here as well, this corner can be curve that in the eraser tool later on, and hopefully it would look as though the lava is actually sort of rising over the ground, is my hope, rather than the other way around, where it's in the lower ground. I think it would just be a little bit more interesting if it's like that. I mean, you probably could make the brush bigger actually for this stage, so I'm just going to make it bigger by 1. Yeah, there we go, look at that, especially for these larger areas. And we're almost there. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is turn the corners visibility up, and what we want to ensure is that okay, for some reason having them all turned, that's really bizarre. That was really bizarre. Okay, so we can turn our center one down, we can turn our sides down, and what I want to ensure is that the pixels on here line up with the one here, so that would fit in as a curve quite nicely there. So if we get our eraser tool as well, and what we can do is actually start to sculpt these into a more curve, so when it meets with this side, if we was to put them together, they'll match up really nicely. So again, we're just going to take away a couple of bits from there. Okay, so these corner ones actually we can turn down a little bit as well. Okay, so actually I think it was probably right before, so let's just take that back. And we're just going to turn our corner ones down to about 90%. And there we go, now we can see what's going on. Okay, so we can push the E for the eraser, and we can actually see that that will line up there, which will meet up with this one. So actually what we really could do with is painting. If we push B for the brush, make it smaller by square bracket, we push Alt, no, B, it's not doing it, there we go. And then what we want to do is create that one up there, because that will mean it will curve off. So let's have a look at this side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've got quite a lot down here. So what we want to do ideally is trim that at least down to 7. Let's have a look at the flow that's happening here. So this is curving up, and this is, so really this side needs to be coming down. We actually can have a little pool inside here. I did want to change this part as well, which is, so that's fine. So let's take a look. So we've got, so you're thinking more about the actual lava that's flowing in. So let's go back to our brush. Sorry, I'm just thinking about how these curves fit in, because I still want these to look like they're coming over the ground, rather than the ground actually controlling them. So we do need to treat this like a negotiation without compromising. So yeah, I want the brush. It's so temperamental. Yeah, okay. So again, go back to the eraser, and we can take some away. I think what we may need to do here, on the brush, we just want to add a little bit of a curve in, and if you go to the eraser again, we can take a couple of bits away. go to our brush, add that one in. Okay, cool. And actually that one will flow down and just circle up a bit and back into that pool, which is fine. Now we've got to do this side, which we'll make sure that this, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cool. So we can get this to follow on by making this a little bit more curved. That one was nice and easy, which is what I like. And then we just have to place this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's on a curve. That's on a curve. They will match up lovely. Okay, so now we just need to make sure we have these sort of pockets built in to make it look as though the lava is actually building into these rather than the sides stopping it, I should say. And then let's check that. That's good. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So I think we just add a couple more in here. We don't want to erase that because it's on that corner. So we'll leave that like that for now. It's so frustrating at times when it keeps making this dinging noise in my ears. Okay, so cool. We've got that, and there we go. So we've got our sort of sides labelled out. We know what we want to do with them. So the first thing we need to do is change. Now what we don't want to do is change any of the lava pattern that's on the edge. So it lines up. Unless we draw it on top of this, as long as it doesn't encroach into the centre tile. But we definitely need to leave about 3 or 4 pixels around the edge of the centre tile on the sides and the corners to ensure that they still link up with those. So what we're going to do is start to paint the darker colours on, okay? And we're going to go through the black straight off, and we are going to start making these feel a little bit round. Actually, in theory what should happen is I can paint these up, but this should actually have a shadow building up from off the lava. Okay, so as it goes round, I think that's how we're going to do it. Because obviously the lava is going to be up and forming over the mud rather than, so it's like it's oozing over rather than the other way around. So it will have some form of shadow underneath it. It sort of comes round. Obviously the upper bits won't necessarily have them, but actually for this I think I'm going to literally ghost it all the way around. So just keep following it up, and you can skip forward at this stage if you wish. Carry on and then just sort of skip a little bit forward, as I'm not really saying much of doing this drawing. And I'm hoping that this will work as a technique. And yeah, so I'm just putting all my concentration into ensuring that I'm actually just meeting the parts that I want to touch. So just bear with me 1 second, and then we're going to have to sort of take these parts down again. We can make them bigger later if we need to. So there we go. So we have that. We've got the sort of lava that's going to be coming out and around. We do want to just add a few more bits of tones within the mud itself. Actually create a bit of shape on that. So we're going to select a darker tone here, and then we're just going to add this in around here. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of drawing black outlines around everything. So this is really sort of stepping out of what I consider to be good practice. I think when people put outlines around things, it takes away from actually using lighting and shadow appropriately. That's not to say it should never be used, because obviously it does create a nice sort of visual style, but I also think that it can limit that aesthetic. So again, we're just going to go back round. I'll bring in this round. Obviously, because it's quite dark and the light's going to hum, it should work fine. Don't worry if we take away from any of the darker bits. I don't think it's going to be that damaging to the overall feel of the image. And also these darker sides will bring out the intensity of the middle as well as the colour reacts with each other. Okay. And then we're just going to get some of the lighter colour now from our original piece. And we're going to start to just build that in. Okay. In fact, no, we're not going to do that, because it will feel as though these are higher than the lava, which we don't want. So we're going to leave it exactly like that. We're just going to add a couple bits of this in, just for detail, just a bit of detail. And then what we're going to do is take the opacity back up other pieces. Just going to zoom out and see how that looks. Yeah, cool. So what we need to do now is just make these bits around the edge feel as though they are actually one solid object bulging round. Okay, like and so the lighting would actually the light would look a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the lighting on our corner pieces. It's probably going to be the same. Our side pieces is certainly going to go down. No, it's probably going to stay up actually, but we're going to take it down to about 93 just so we can see where that difference is, and then our centre tile will be taken right down. Okay, which means probably to about 75, which means we need to use these corner pieces as our colour picker reference. So the first thing we're going to do is get this darker red where it's cooler, and we are going to go around all of the sides. Okay, and we're going to paint them in red as well. Okay, now this time we do want to be careful, because we do want these to join up in the end. Okay, so this is the first stage to making our sort of balls of lava that are forming over the ground. Obviously, as they rise over each other, it's going to cool down as it hits the surface, and then the lava behind it pushes forward over that. So these edges are going to be quite cold. I've probably gone quite with the intense red right around the edge. Maybe that's going to work out to be probably not the best thing to do, but we will see. I just want to check where that is. Yeah, this is on the corner piece, on the lava underneath, sorry, so we can go over that. And that's probably why it's good we've gone over in the darker colour around these edges, because it's just going to highlight those areas for us as well, in addition. So yeah, in this one we are doing the corners and the sides together, which is going to make for a longer tutorial, but it's a much more sort of fluent way of doing this. So the other tutorials sort of eased you in, broke it down a little bit for you. I mean, there has been a lot of them this week, but again, you know, hopefully they're there for you to use, not just throughout this phase, but also when you develop your final game assets. I know some of you will think I'm just going to use the assets that are created in this phase from a final game, but those of you that are feeling ambitious and actually want to push for those better marks and have actually a better looking game at the end of it, I certainly hope would be looking to study the assets that you create and improve on them. That would be my hope. So again, we're just going around these edges. And hopefully, because we've lined up the corners, all of these will match up as well. Because as long as we just follow them round, sticking to those sort of rules. Okay, now we have our red. What we're going to do is pick the lighter red, and I think maybe in some places we'll just put that lighter red. Oh, didn't select it. So again, I think in some areas it can go in. Especially some of the bigger parts and these sort of bigger corners. I think in some of them it might be a little bit too much, especially given that we've got to get some yellow in there yet. Two tops of yellow, and okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take the yellow, and we are now going to paint that in. If we hold our corner, we can see exactly where we've hit and where we haven't. And obviously we're going to have to blend these in. So with our layers underneath. So we have got a bit of work to do, but I mean, this is key, as I said before, the end result should be really nice, really slick, and we'll be having some awesome looking levels and looking games. So yeah, we're just going to follow this around the edge, and I'll go really quiet when I concentrate, so you just have to bear with that. I know it's not very entertaining as such, but we do have to apply concentration, which is why we always try to get you focusing lessons, because if you're not concentrating, then you can't be applying it with the the level of control that you should be. So going to build some red in there, put that lighter one down here. Okay, cool. So I think we're starting to get there now, so let's just turn these back on. Let's have a look. So right. So what we want to do at this stage now is just get this light yellow. We'll start to build that into the middle. In fact, we only had little bits there, so we are going to just continue it with smaller parts, okay? And now we're just going to add some of the lighter ones in, and we're just going to pull those into there. Okay, now all we need to do is sort of finalise these additional parts. So we're going to turn the opacity on the sides down, because we don't really want to conflict too much with those. Well, we do, but we just want to really identify where these parts are. Okay, I want the layer. Okay, so we don't want to mess with this part. We can sort of hit these edges. I mean, that's looking okay. But anywhere where these parts need to be built off from, to make them feel more like they're part of this, we need to fix that up. Okay, so that's looking okay. There's not really any round here, and I'm actually thinking that we could probably add one. You could probably add a small one in around here, and just put some red onto that. A softer red, obviously. There we go. And then just again, we're just gonna tidy this part up. I think actually we probably need to leave that like that, given that it's going to attach onto there. And we can probably just take away this one, and we can keep it brown, and we can actually add the white over here. Keep that orange, keep that red flowing round, and just build back into that, keep it more there. Okay, so now what we should have, we're just going to deduce the corner opacity, reduce it, and then we're going to just bring this up. And now what we're just going to do is just make sure that these areas are tidy, make sure you're on the right layer. And then once we've made these tidier, what that means is that it should all sort of match up. I think that's okay, just need to get that there. It's mainly adding the reds in that's the main sort of part around here, because obviously where we've painted on top to account for all the new geometry, we just need to make sure that we have stuff over there. Okay, and I'm kind of think that that's all okay. So let's just turn these up. Okay, just turn the centre tile up. And now if we zoom out, cool, we've got a sort of cool looking tile pattern. Now what we want to do is bake these differences on, but without inflicting too much damage onto our original tile. So we're going to hide that. What we're going to do is we're going to hide the sides, and we're going to our corner pieces should be fine. Now what we're going to do is get this corner, we're going to push Control, Shift and C. Okay. We're then going to take it into our corner folder, and then we're going to push Control V. Now we need to get this, we need to take the name of this and put it into the name of that, because it needs to be above. Oh, so Control X and Control V. No, it's just copying that. So Control C, Control V, push Enter, select both of them, hold it and click Merge Layers. Okay, and then we're just going to hide that, and then we're going to go around to our next corner, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Control Shift C, and then Control V. We're going to Control C the name, Control V that, and then we're going to merge these layers. Okay, so if we hide these now, we actually have two solid layers, corners that fit in. Okay, and we're going to do the same again for the bottom corners. So Control Shift C, Control V, copy that name, Control C, double click, Control V, enter, double click, merge the layers and build them in. Okay, and repeat that for the same one. So in this tutorial, I want you to go ahead and do that, change the size, do exactly the same for the sides, build those together, and then we can copy those over into our final piece. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I want you to carry on, go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in the next tutorial where we're going to generate the open corners. Okay, so good luck, and